Welcome to Ma'am's Talk, where Ma'am's Talk Survivor. I am Kay, your resident ma'am, and with me, as always, is my darling wife, Jess. You
Hello.
want to say something about yourself?
Hi. I'm really bad at drafting, is what I have to say.
Yeah. And as well, we have Ma'am Frankie. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you, ma'am.
And of course, Zach, you are with us as well. How are we feeling about this cast of characters?
I think there's a lot of very fun personalities and like a lot of I feel like different people. I also I haven't watched all the seasons of Survivor, but a lot of different people that I necessarily haven't like seen before, so I'm excited. It should be a fun time.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a quirky bunch.
yeah, it's definitely like very high energy. I feel like I've been actually watching my sister and I have been watching like my master Survivor Watch season pattern.
We
So
all
it
have
was
them.
yeah, so it was in my opinion Pearl Islands, then she watched All Stars 1, then she watched China Token Teens, and now we will watch Heroes versus Villains.
Where is Cook Islands?
She started watching it, and I told her
Okay,
not to. Uh, we
that's
can
a
talk.
hot
We can
take.
talk later about it.
Okay.
And it's just so different than this cast to me. Like, I feel like there was always an air on those seasons of Survivor of like these people were forced to do this and they don't really want to be like it was almost like a punishment in some way. And everyone on this season is like, this is my lifelong dream, and my children are really inspiring me to do this. So lots of very high energy folks on this
Yeah,
season.
I do think that's a product of the new era. Like, I
Hmm.
care. It was RHAP, somebody definitely was like recently about 45. Like, it's not about the money anymore. It's about like a self-fulfilling journey of some kind.
Yeah, like Q is like during his preseason interview, he was like, "Oh, well, I can make $1 million in a week, but like that's not why I'm here." And I was
Hmm.
like, "This is just such a different cast." It's like where does the drive come from at a point? Like I love to see like the desperation, like I need this money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like when people are like forced into like they're not necessarily like wouldn't be cut out for this, but then they're forced to like fill that role because they need the money. Like that's how so many
Hmm.
of the old school like all stars got where they are, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, also that's like a reason to become like to do more cutthroat moves, like especially in the age of
Yeah.
Hmm.
social media, people are so scared to be like make those villainous moves. And when you really need the money and that's what you're there for, like you don't really need to care about public perception. You just need to do what you need to do to get to the end and get that win,
Yeah.
which definitely changes it.
Even recently watching China, when they were getting down to like final five, there was one point when Denise was like, I'm a lunch lady. Like I could use $1 million. Like that's why I'm here. Which then compared to new era Survivor where people are giving the money away and like never intended to keep
oh,
it.
don't get me started on
So
it.
Yeah.
Don't get
Yeah.
me started. Listen.
so yeah,
All
there's
right. So
a lot of differences.
I could get on that tangent for a while, but we are doing things Rob has a podcast style here. Shout out to them. Great podcast, great podcast. Um so we're gonna decide the draft order by trivia, which I have created. So I am a little bit at a disadvantage here. I'm gonna be taking whatever the winner decides to give me. So I'm at their will here. So I have some questions which I have prepared. Everyone is going to have a piece of paper, or in Zach's case, I think we have an iPad.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you some questions. When you have your answer, write it down, and then we will all reveal at one time. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. Question number one. There are three Survivor winners who are New Year's babies, which means they were born on January 1st. Can you name one of them? There are three of them. Go ahead.
Is there a time limit?
The mams are thinking, I'll cut it off whenever.
Okay.
I feel like it's been enough time.
Insane, because I know someone who for a fact was born December 31st.
No.
Survivor
fine.
winners, you mean?
Mhm.
You need to channel your Capricorn
I know.
energy.
That's what I'm thinking.
It is kind of crazy though, because New Year, I believe January 1st is like the second least common birthday or something like that. After Christmas, I think. So the fact that we have 3 New Year's babies it's interesting. All right, I think I'm gonna give you about 10 more seconds.
Oh my
here.
god.
Also, don't judge my spelling ever.
I don't
Don't
know,
say
so
that.
I'm gonna write who was born on December 31st, and then it'll
Yeah.
be kind of like a fun fact.
Yeah.
And
Oh, maybe if no one else gets it and Frankie gets the 31st, then she wins.
Yeah. All right, so we're all locked in. All right, let us reveal. Frankie, what'd you say?
Natalie Bolton was born December 31st. I believe
right.
1975. She looks incredible. She looks incredible.
Oh my god, the shoot with Par. Incredible. All right. Jessica, what have you said?
Okay, I think this is right. Marianne.
Marianne and Zach?
I also said Marianne. It's backwards
Marianne
though.
is one of the correct answers.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
The other 2 answers are Denise and Ben.
Oh my gosh, I should have known that.
Yeah, they both give Capricorn way more than Marianne.
Ben
in my
is such a
opinion.
Capricorn.
Yeah.
So Zach and Jess are on the board with 1 point, but there's still a lot of game to play.
Are you
All
keeping
right.
score, or should we keep our own score?
Keep your own score, but I have a
Okay.
mental tally.
Okay.
All right. Question number 2. What is the first location to be revisited in the CBS Survivor? The flagship show. The first location to be revisited.
Not me going, did the first season air? Like, did it not start airing on CBS? Like, is this a trick question? Okay.
Meaning not international, of course. So we're not talking about any Australian seasons, anything like that. Just the US version. I'll give it another 10 seconds. Is everyone done?
I'm done.
Zach, you're good? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with Zach this time.
Okay. You said it. I don't know why, but I thought maybe Australia. Like I know they did the Outback maybe twice. I don't know.
Okay. Jessica?
Panama. I'm thinking Pearl Island and Exile Island. I'm not sure.
Okay. And Frankie?
I said Palau. Intuitively, I feel like that's the right answer, and I don't know why. So,
Okay, the answer was actually Samoa, which they visited 4 times. 4 times here. It is the one that the Australian Survivor goes back to.
Oh.
That's their Fiji.
Mm.
So it's a wash there.
You mean we're not going to see which of our locations was geographically closest, and that's how the points will be?
Nicaragua was the other one that was repeated, and Philippines is another as well. Before they started to just like go to the same place. Okay.
Yeah, which just makes so much more sense for like every reason imaginable. Production.
I miss the location theme.
I do too. And
Yeah.
they would tell
They
their
were fun.
story. Yeah. Oh well. Okay. Question number 3. What contestant has played the most days of Survivor? This is including exile days, which like, this could be like Edge of Extinction, like Redemption Island, that kind of thing. Like they're still technically in the game even if they got voted off. So who's that contestant who played the most days? And this is combined, not just one season, of course.
Do I need a last name if I don't know the last name? Like, should I look up? Okay.
If you want, just in case there's like multiple people with the same name, give some sort of like descriptor, like what season they were on or something.
It's a great question what season they were on. I'll describe it if needed.
Yeah.
I feel like I know that there's somebody who played more seasons than the person I wrote down, but I believe that the person I wrote down has played the most days.
Okay. I feel like I know who you're gonna say.
Yeah.
I feel like I should write it down on a piece of paper.
That's
So actually, we're gonna save you for last, and then I'm gonna
Okay.
say it as you turn it over. Okay, so Jess, you can start first.
Oh, I don't think this is right. I just went with he's played 4 seasons. Boston Rob.
All right, Boston Rob. Zach.
I don't know her last name, but like Andrea
Okay.
was yeah, okay.
I'm with you. I'm rocking with you. And Frankie. Okay, and we're gonna do it on 3, 2, 1. Okay, ready? And we're both gonna say it. 3, 2, 1. Amanda Kimmel. Yeah.
39 days
Yeah.
plus 39 days plus 30 days,
Yeah.
I believe is how many days
Yeah.
she played. But I was also like, maybe Ozzy.
Yes,
Mm.
Ozzy is close. I believe he's number 3 on the list. Number 2 is Parvati Shallow, and number 1, Boston Rob Mariano.
Oh,
Okay, good.
Played
I
5
thought.
seasons.
Oh, 5
Winners-
seasons. Well,
Listen, the
Mhm.
winners at war, Eggs of Extinction.
Exile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it did a lot
Yeah.
for those people out there.
Wait, does that include? That doesn't include his Island of the Idols, though, right?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Does
think
that
about
include
was-
Deal or No Deal Island?
Not yet.
Does it
not
I
yet.
didn't
include
think
the-
about the winners of war at all, and you
Yeah.
you made sure to remind us that counted. So I probably
Yeah.
should have thought that. But
Does it count his celebrity home makeover show?
does it count Rob and Amber were getting married? Their televised wedding
I
after
mean,
All Stars
If
1.
when we put that all together, it's kind of just like a land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. Jess is in the lead 2-1. What is the only season to have an all-black final tribal council in honor of Black History Month? So the people arguing to win $1 million. It has only happened once where they were all Black contestants. What season was that? Zach's thinking hard.
I don't think I've seen the season, so
All right, and let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Done.
And then we'll start with Francesca.
Fiji.
Jess?
I said Fiji, and I wrote the names of the people.
Oh, all right.
and I'm wrong, and I just wrote Marquesas, which is incorrect.
It's not horrible. Not a bad guess.
Yeah. One of the
but
most
Fiji is correct, yes. And
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So horrible.
oh,
Racist, like racially charged, worse than Cook Islands. Like bad.
somehow.
Like
Yeah.
bad.
It was bad.
Yeah. We
Horrible.
don't talk about that, but we do celebrate those 3 who just named so aptly Earl, Dreams, and Cassandra. Good job.
Yeah. Dreams, also known as Andre.
Andre, but you can
Dreams,
call him
but you
Dreams.
But
call
you
me
can call him
Dreams.
Dreams.
Correct. All right. So Frankie gets on the board. Jess is in the lead with 3, and Zach has 1 as well. So, just to keep it spicy, I think for this last question, there are 4 answers to this question. I will give you a point per person that is eligible for answering, so anyone can get it at this point. So, the question is: there are 4 multi-time players who have never had their torch snuffed. Can you name them? So this could be this is a little hint. It could be through quitting, medical evacuation, or just good old fashioned I have made it to the end of the game, therefore I've never had the torch stuffed. So as many as you can get right, I will give you the point.
No, nope, already wrong.
And you only do get 4 guesses. You can't just write down however many you want and hope they're right. Write down all 46 seasons contestants.
That was my plan. No.
What's harder, naming all of the contestants who have ever played Survivor, or this?
That probably. I also haven't seen all the seasons, so I would not be good at
Yeah.
Because winners come back and then they like
Oh,
get eliminated like one episode in and then I forget they're on the season.
Right.
See, it would help if I had watched Winners at War.
The mams are thinking. I'm gonna give it another 10 seconds and then whatever you have, you have. And while we're here, I just want us to look at my fit for the day. New Oscars hat. The Oscars are coming up. And we have a Josie and the Pussycats t-shirts because they are the #1 band in the world.
An Oscar-winning film.
And it should have won Best Picture, let's be honest. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there. So, who would like to start?
We can. I think I'm gonna be the most wrong, so let's
Okay.
start with me. So I have all the greats of Survivor on here. So I have Tony, Sandra, Parvati, and obviously Francesca never got voted out ever and won every season that she was ever on. So that was the one I knew.
Wait, can you hold it up one more time?
Tony, Sandra, Parvati, and Francesca.
Okay, so you are correct that none of them are right. All have been voted out. So Jess, we'll move on to you.
I did, so I forgot about Tony's really bad. What was it, Game Changers?
Yeah, he was out.
Yeah, no, not good. So I did write Tony, but okay. So I have 3 that I tried. So Caleb, Beast Mode Cowboy Caleb was medically evacuated. So I think that may, and then Natalie Anderson and Michelle Fitzgerald. Those are my guesses.
I can say that you have one correct.
Oh damn.
Wait, Francesca wasn't right?
Francesca and Frankie.
I said I'm for sure on Michelle Fitzgerald, I think. And then I said Cochran. Did he win? Okay, and then I also said Natalie. Question mark for the final 2.
So you also did get one right. It was Michelle Fitzgerald, the most notable of the 4 here. She won her first season, obviously, and then in Winners at War, she made it to final 3, but lost.
Famous 0 vote third
sadly
person.
Lost. Then we have Jenna Maraska, who
she
obviously
quit.
She won her first season, but then she quit for her mother's health during All Stars. And then we have Colton. I don't know if we remember him. He is famously a 2-time quitter.
Oh yeah. That's funny.
First time technically a medevac, but the man
he could have stayed.
The man did not actually have appendicitis, so questionable. And then the last one is the unspeakable. I hate to even say his name here, but it is Michael Skupin.
I was
the
gonna
man
say that.
who fell into the fire. And then his second time he made it to the final tribal council.
Oh, I didn't remember he made it to final tribal. What a shame.
He nearly won. What a horrible life that would have been.
Totally forgot Natalie came back from extinction in Winners at War, right?
Right. She did make it to the final 3, but she did get her torch.
She was eliminated first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guess though. All right. So that means that Jess will be choosing our draft order.
Oh God. This is actually not what I wanted.
What a burden you bear.
Because now it's all in my hands.
There are 18 contestants, but there are 4 of us. So that means that 2 people are going to have 2 people are going to have 1 extra player. So the 3rd slot and the 4th slot will have an extra player, but they will be bottom of the barrel picking. So something to consider as you are deciding. Jess, have you made your decision?
I was between going 3rd or 4th. I think I'm gonna go 3rd. So then do I pick who goes when? Otherwise?
You sure
okay. Okay. Zach, I'll let you go first.
Listen, I'm very attached to my first pick, and I'm very happy that I will be getting them.
I think Kay will go 2nd and Frankie will go 4th.
Thank you, Jess. I get the extra person.
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, we will begin the Survivor 46 draft. And first up is Zach. You're on the clock.
Yeah, so I think my first pick is going to be Kenzie. I think that she is like, just from all the videos that I've seen of her, was very like social and just iconic in general. Like when she was like, I knew I was either going to like open a hair salon or marry an old rich dying man. I was like, that's me. And so I just love to see myself represented, but I also think like she can very much play up being like kind of more like airheaded and like dumb, but she seems like she's very cutthroat and strategic as well. So I get good vibes. So that's why she is my first pick.
All right, Kenzie. I guess I'll come out the gate with this. I had Kenzie very high as well. She was not my number one, but I also really enjoyed her energy. I felt like she just was like carrying a good conversation, which I think is
Hmm.
like a good sign. Like, and I think like her connections she will build pretty well.
Mhm.
I think her disadvantage here is she is going to be seen as like the combo of Jam Jam and name. Hello.
Carolyn.
Carolyn, thank you.
Hmm.
I don't know why I was thinking Cassidy, but a little Cassidy, but
Kind of
not
Cassidy.
yeah. Um, because she is a hairstylist, but she
Yeah.
also
Mhm.
has like the tattoos. She's a little quirky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have good feelings about Kenzie.
She reminds me of Katie from Muna.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Not
Is
really
this
in this
do we
picture.
do we know if
Not
this is a
really.
queer woman?
I don't know. I'm
A
not
queer
I know that I
sure.
person?
think she has a male fiance,
Yes,
but
I
that
Because
think
I was
so.
gonna
doesn't mean
say this is this a straight Katie from Muna, but I don't want to assume anything.
I will say I do need to know who is queer on this cast because last season
Yeah.
everybody was
They
gay.
should include a little
Yeah.
rainbow flag
Yeah.
next to their
The
Yeah,
only
yeah.
person I know for sure is queer is Banu said he was queer.
Yes,
I'm pretty
yes.
sure is the only person who actually said that. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that is true. All right, any other thoughts on Kenzie? Pros, cons?
I have to say I'm a little traumatized by the tattooed women because of Hannah last year. So
Oh,
Yeah.
slightly
There's
concerned about that,
She's
but
I
she,
was
she's
kind
gonna
of
redeem.
I was
Yeah.
kind of picking up on like sometimes self-identified Parvati players can sometimes be first boot,
yeah.
like that type of vibe. I think that sometimes I remember like the season, maybe I think it was 43 or 44, Ellie, like this kind of like that situation where like I thought she was gonna win and then she got booted instead of Gabler because she wanted to get Gabler out. And I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes when women try to like make moves like that, they're just out like pre-merge. So that's
Yeah.
sometimes how I feel about like this archetype of character in the game. New game.
Yeah. I was a
yeah.
huge Ellie fan and I was
Me
upset when
too.
she left.
Yeah, I just like I was getting like a good vibe of like she could go under the radar very easily. But like is she gonna be too subtle and like is she gonna be willing to make those big moves? I think that was my reasoning for not putting her at number one. I think she was my number two though. So
My issue was
Oh.
actually the opposite because I noticed in the interviews she was pointed out by a few people as having good energy, which is a good thing, but it also shows that she's gaining attention without even ever speaking to
that's
anyone.
true.
And it also seemed that she's like incredibly bubbly and social, which is like also a good thing, but I do think it could draw people to her in perhaps an attention gaining way, which could be bad, but I think that she's overall a good pick.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So we're moving on to me, which I'm stoked about this. This is my number one pick.
Oh
So
wow.
this person really caught my eye. She, of course, as my number one pick.
Mhm.
She had a really good energy. Um, I think her background leaves left me with a good impression. And without further ado, I will show you who that person is not Liz, it's Jess.
Oh, that was
My
my number
God.
That's
one.
I had her high too.
Yeah, I adore Jess, and that's not just because she shares a name with you, Jess. She just like she was adorable. She was like a little nerdy, but she had a lot of charisma. She formerly had a Chris Jericho blog. What's
Yeah.
more endearing than that? And then I like that she compared herself to Fabio at one point.
Yeah.
It's like I think which would be like a red flag to a lot of people. But like at the end of the day, people loved Fabio and he won just because he was likable. And like she has that going for her.
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
liked her interview too. I actually didn't have her that high for like how well I thought she would do, but she was probably my favorite interview. As in like I would be friends with this person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I really hope that she does win. I think that she just her and like everything you're saying, like her entire sorry, my phone started going off. Her entire like everything about her, like her profession, her demeanor, her like the way that it seems like she could really use like flying under the radar like to her advantage. I think people will perceive her as quiet, but I think that she will really be like hopefully running the show. That's what I hope
I would
for
love
her.
to see it.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Oh, all right. That's my pick, which I'm super pumped about it.
Okay, wait, let me cross her off.
Yeah. I realize I'm the only one without a paper here, so maybe Jess, if you could write down the teams, that would be helpful.
That's a good idea.
I'm
Are you
also
doing it,
tracking
Zach?
them. Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
You got
tracking
it,
them.
Zach. I'm just
Cool.
crossing off like from my boot order what I don't have access to anymore.
All right. Well, you get the
okay.
third pick here, Jess.
Oh wait, can we also just talk about that she made this outfit she's wearing?
Oh, that's cool. It's smart
so
to wear
cool.
linen on the island. I'll say it because
Yeah.
it's warm
Dries
and
fast.
breathable.
Yep.
Yeah. Also worth noting that her and Kenzie both like identified each other as like people they wanted to work with just from like vibes around the like resort.
Final two right there. I'm telling
And I
you.
think they're on the same tribe.
I think they are on the same tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be a final two. We'll see.
I felt like a lot of the people I'm getting good vibes about are on the same tribe, which I feel like isn't good for me in this situation.
All right, Jess.
Okay, I am gonna be so honest. I really don't feel great about anything regarding this.
Anything.
So, I don't know. Like, I'm really bad at reading people in general, but unfortunately, my person is a man.
Oh.
Ew, boo.
But I think that people are gonna like this guy, and I think that he seems low key enough that he won't draw like major attention, but I also think he's smart. So I'm going with Hunter.
I thought so. I had him ready.
Yeah.
I did. I had him ready.
He is just the simple fact that he built a full-scale Survivor game for his students means that he is, I think, ready for this. I just got really good energy from him. He seems really sweet. He compared himself to JT, which I could totally see that energy happening. I think even if he's not the most strategic, he seems like he's really likable. It's really hard for me to like tell exactly how he'll do like game wise or in the competitions, but the fact that he has like the puzzle practice, I think that he can make friends easy. He's like from a small town. He has like that small town country charm. So yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. He was the person I had first on my list. So
I think he was like my number 3. I just think he kind of has it all. Like it seems like he'll be decent in challenges. He seems very sociable. Like I think that's a very solid pick.
Yeah, he seems like non-intimidating, and I think that men who are not intimidating get far on this game because if he's nice and good at puzzles, he's made merge, in my opinion. Like it's
pretty
like
much.
For men, like literally like when we're talking about like Kenzie for like 10 minutes about how it's like people might vote her out because she has tattoos. And then for men, it's like, well, he's wearing a blue shirt. So I think that he's gonna like I think he probably will final 3, but I got the same energy from him that it's like he's in a helping profession. He doesn't seem like he would scream at someone, and it seems like he's like a team player, which I feel like normally bodes well for men in this game.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's why I also felt safer picking a man, because the like divisiveness on them is usually a lot lower. They're
Mhm.
usually a lot easier for people to digest just upon first meeting, and they make like connections easier than women do, I think. So I thought that was a safe bet, you know.
Yeah. I like Hunter. He's very disarming. And I agree. I think he will be good at everything, which I think is why I didn't put him
Mhm.
very high. Because like I think he's also like the biggest guy out there. And like when you're like the big strong guy in the modern era, people are just like gunning for you. There's like not much you can do about it. Um, but I do think he will be liked. I think he'll probably be in like a good alliance. He'll probably make merge, but
Mhm.
I'm concerned about his merge game.
Yeah,
He
I
has to
definitely
really
get that.
he has got to get some people around him, I think.
I do think he's someone who would have done really, really well on like Old School Survivor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the winner of
Yeah.
Old School Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
But
they just used
I like
to,
Hunter.
yeah, like Old School Survivor, when they would just like do like jump cuts to everybody entering on the plane and then never mention their profession ever again.
Yeah.
When it's just like Hunter, a teacher from Mississippi, and then
Yeah.
like someone else, and then that was it. And we
Yeah.
literally were like, that's all.
I also think his name is quite like Hunter McKnight. It sounds like he's an actor or something.
Mm.
I remember noting that in his interview.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much about how I feel about the other teachers here, but
Mhm.
I said that he uses his ability to sway a classroom. He works with a lot of kids who like don't already like have a lot of trust issues, and like he has to kind of like maneuver that. And I thought that was like an interesting way to like view teaching as it
Mhm.
applies to Survivor. We'll get into how other people view
Yeah.
teaching. So
I also noted that he said that he has to like keep a classroom's attention, and like specifically like high school boys, I think, from like troubled backgrounds. So yeah.
a tough place to be. It's very applicable to Survivor. So
Mhm.
good luck to
Mhm.
Hunter. And with that, Frankie, you have not only pick 4, but also pick 5.
Okay, I did not think that through. So for my pick, I think I'm picking this woman.
Sorry, I like broke girl code here.
This woman, because there was something about her that like I feel like we would be friends, which like isn't normally why like my strategy for stuff like this at all, but there was something about her that I was like, she seems familiar, and I think that just from learning more about her, I think that she kind of has like a hunger that we were talking about earlier, where it's like people like needing the money and like that type of thing. And also I think sometimes when people just are like, I'm nerdy, then it kind of like they zoom right through, kind of like Emily last season when she kind of, she screwed herself, but that's really the only reason she got out was because she like of her own fault. So for that reason, I am going to draft Mariah on my
Mariah.
team.
Here we
Yeah.
go. There she is.
And I will say I am drafting her despite the fact that she is wearing overall shorts
And a
on
tube
this
top.
island.
While we were watching her preseason interview, it looked like she was just wearing that. And I was like, does she have
Yeah.
like a
She's a
shirt
little
on?
bandeau.
Yeah,
She's
a
also
little
wearing like a statement earring.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also something compelling to me about people when they're wearing their like buff as a headband and glasses. I'm like, that's a winner of Survivor for some reason. But yeah, I get good vibes from her. I did watch her the TikTok about her, and I was like, I feel good about this. So that's my
What about
feeling.
the M curse?
I have not heard of the
Yeah,
M
tell us
curse.
more.
That's like Marianne has this whole theory that in the new era, because it's like one of the early boots has always been a woman whose name starts with M, and the only reason it didn't affect her is because there was another another woman with M on her
Mm.
season, but like it's been
Mm.
consistent through most of them, which is why I was a little hesitant. But I did have Mariah pretty high because like she 3D prints the puzzles, and I think that she's going to be pretty good at challenges.
Yeah, I was kind of middle of the road for Mariah. I like her as a person. She wasn't really giving me like killer instinct. I think I didn't really she's the one I literally had like the least amount of notes about. I didn't really know what to do with her.
Same, actually.
Interesting.
I didn't get a ton from her. I do think we would be friends,
Yeah.
for sure. But I wasn't getting anything besides like she has a good personality. That was sort of like all I took
Yeah.
from her.
Something I did note was that she's a nerd, right? Like she plays CD, all that fun stuff. But unlike a lot of recent seasons, there aren't a lot of other like nerds. There's a lot of like goofballs, but I don't know if she's gonna find a like connection in like a nerdy way, the way that like the past seasons, like Carson's
Drew.
talking about like Pokemon. Like I don't know if she's gonna find that in this cast.
But I think she'd also be like smart enough to keep her mouth shut about it too. Like unless they're like in confessional, they're like, Mariah, tell us how this game is like Dungeons and Dragons. Like then like they might do that
Like
if
Kane.
if she's like feeling the nerd archetype, but I think that I don't know. I think that I get the vibe from her where she kind of knows how to be selective in what she speaks about herself too. So
Yeah, I mean she's in politics, so that would
That's
make
fair.
sense.
That's fair. All right.
Is it back to me?
It's back to me.
Yeah, Frankie's got the fourth.
Oh, Frankie's got. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I thought that was your second
That's
pick.
okay. Okay, and I am gonna kind of surprise myself in picking someone else that is a man, who I do have on my list. But I'm gonna say it first and then I'm gonna talk about it. But the person I'm picking second is Randon.
Brandon.
I totally thought his name was Brandon until like halfway through his interview.
Yeah. So here's how I'm feeling about Randon. First of all, in his interview, he was talking about how like his kids think he's gonna get kicked off first, which to me was giving like a little bit of like Jesse Lopez vibes, like from recent seasons. I think men in their like early 40s do well on this show, and he also was in the military and does like extreme sports. So I was like, based on that, I feel like he like has the right path, and it also he has like a foundation for his kids. So I feel like all of those things, it sounds like he may be good at the challenges. He also seems kind of like analytical, and not like emotional about his family, but like not emotional about other parts of the game, like maybe kind of like being super analytical about the game, but like doing it for his children. So that was kind of like my vibe with this man.
Yeah, I did write he's a family man. Classic.
Yeah. I had where did I put Brandon? I had Brandon second last.
I had him third to last, so
I had him pretty low too. I had him like fifth last. Yeah, fifth last.
So I think he popped a little bit more in the TikTok. During the like 20-ish minute interview with Mike Bloom, he was giving so dry. He was very like corporate sounding to me. It wasn't very like interpersonal. It was just a little stiff. And I was like, if this is how he's interacting on the island, I don't see him getting very far. But he started to come alive when he was talking about his family.
Right.
And I think that's if he can like really tap into like that's when he became likable to me. But when he was talking about like literally anything else, I was like, I don't care. I'm so sorry.
I didn't get like that bad of energy from him. Like I wasn't finding him boring, but he wasn't like jumping off the screen to me. But he did mention something about like that he's like an introvert by nature and he's like had to teach himself how to be extroverted as he got older because he learned that like being a wallflower doesn't get you anywhere, that kind of thing. So the fact that he's thought about that, I think, is a good sign. Like it shows that he's hyper aware that he needs to like of what he needs to be doing to be like noticed and seen in the game. So I don't feel like bad about him. But yeah, I just didn't really know what his deal was beyond that he loves his family.
Well, we'll see if I'm very right or very wrong about these people. I don't know. I feel like I'm like, maybe they're saving it all for the game.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing about this too is like they could say whatever they want. It's gonna change.
Oh,
like the game is gonna
1000%.
change everything.
Well, it's like one of the people, it's Kenzie, who Kenzie was like, I'm gonna play, or no, it's not Kenzie. It's someone else with a similar sounding name. They're like, I'm gonna play like Sandra and Russell. It's like, you can't do that. Like it's just like a very like, I think that people like you think about how you're gonna play before the game, and then you're like on an island and you're starving, and like then your gameplay changes. So
yeah,
that's my
Yeah. To be fair,
much-
I don't think he really talked a lot about like his strategy, which I think gave
Yeah.
me very little to go off of.
Yeah.
Like I just like didn't really get a sense of like how he was like approaching the game. So
Yeah.
that's really what it came down to. For me.
I definitely think for him it's going to come down to like the thing that scared me is like as like a more introverted person that forced themselves to be extroverted, like being on an island starving for all that time, like am I gonna have the energy to go out of my
Mhm.
introverted self and consistently be like networking with people? Like that's a big question.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe he'll be able to do it, but like just like from the interview and stuff, I was like, I wasn't sure if it was gonna be there, but he could definitely surprise me.
Yeah, I will say I was mostly drawn to people who said that they were like adaptable. That was like something that I really had stake in just because the game changes so much. So yeah, I just think it's really I'm bad at this. Like I'm bad at reading people. I'm bad at predicting how they're gonna do. So I don't think I have any idea what's the right choices with these people. And
Yeah.
as I say that, it's my turn. So
It sure is.
Okay. Should I go? Should I
Yeah.
start? Okay. I'm unfortunately picking another man. I'm so sorry
It's
to
rough out
say.
there. It's rough.
But I had to pick him simply for one extremely arbitrary reason. And this boy is Charlie.
I knew you were gonna pick him.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's find.
Only
let's find
because
them.
he said he was a Swiftie. So I'm just because I felt so confused about pretty much everyone beyond Hunter. I'm gonna go with Charlie since I have that tidbit of information about him. I was really not sure. I wrote a lot of notes about him because he kept like changing my mind about how I felt about him. I like didn't know how to feel about like he's a law student, he's gonna lie about the fact that he's a law student. But he also like had said, I'm sorry, I need to remind myself what he said. But
he's gonna claim he's
really,
a paralegal.
Yes, he's gonna claim. Oh, he goes to the Bryson One events. That made me kind of warm up to him a little bit more. He compared himself to Christian Ubicki. He's a distance runner. I said he seems good at speaking and telling his story, and he also noted that one of the most important things that people often don't think about is the fact that you need to not only be able to like get your way to the end, but you also need to be able to like tell your story in a good way. And I felt like based on his interview, if he was to make it to the end, I felt like he would be able to do that. I'm unsure how he'll be able to mesh with this cast specifically, but I don't know. I had a good vibe about him. So that's me with Charlie.
To me, when I think about the sport of cross country, this man comes to mind.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
This is literally like, who's a cross country runner? Picture this guy in like
put him in like an AI like
AI cross country runner. Yeah, I think that he knows how to speak. I think it's because he's a lawyer. I think they're really just because of precedent for the past few seasons, like people who are lawyers are being like super careful about that, which to me, like, I don't necessarily know that I would think that that was a like detrimental or a bad thing. I understand why people would, but it's also just kind of like that's your job. Like, you know, people do all types of things and go on Survivor and are successful. James was famously a gravedigger. Like it's like, you know, like they don't really find like like I think that like the people that they cast now, like they're almost like, we're gonna throw some lawyers in there just to see if they say that they're lawyers and like
Yeah.
how that
Here's
plays out.
here's I think an issue with the modern season is they really like to get people who like have like excelled at something in their life. They're like, look at how they've excelled in here. They should excel in this scenario where it's like if you get people just regular ass
Yeah.
people,
Regular people.
you're gonna get something way more interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I noticed that. I can't remember who. Oh, it was the artist girl. She was like talking about how acclaimed of an artist she is, and I was like, okay, well maybe that's why they cast her. There was
For
a
sure.
few other things that were like, I'm the whatever best in the country of this.
I'm the
or
best
what, that,
realtor
yeah,
in the
second.
US.
I think
Like,
it was second best, second most sales or whatever realtor. I just felt like there were a lot of people that were like notably acclaimed in their field, which I
Right.
think is interesting. But yeah, I am always worried about people lying about their profession, and I often think it's useless. At the end of the day, I also feel like it's a really big brother thing to do, to lie about your profession.
Yeah.
But I do think the fact that he's going to say, first of all, I don't think that the regular person really cares about the difference between a law student and a paralegal. To be
No.
honest,
Besides the fact that a paralegal is a more feminine profession, which we don't have to get into that, but
you know, here's the
he's-
thing. I
he's
don't think
softening himself by saying that.
he just needs to talk about Taylor Swift, and he will not have to worry about that. He's
exactly.
he's gonna be
Right.
seen as soft.
Exactly. Well,
look at
that's what made me like him when he said that he was a Swiftie.
Yeah, okay.
I will say he was the very bottom of my list.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure about him, but I'm gonna roll the dice on Mr. Charlie.
I do think it's partially I just had Taylor Swift fatigue, and he just like really was driving into that hard, and I was like, no.
I do have to say, I did note that he was a Swiftie pre-Midnights, which also says a lot about him.
And it's also to say that this was probably filming at the time of the Eras tour, so he didn't even get to see the live streams.
Oh, this was summer 2022 that they filmed these interviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Jam Jam was the most recent winner.
Well, yeah, but it's pre-era. Like it's.
Oh, it was 2023.
It was.
Yeah,
because it's pre any of that. Like he doesn't know. Like at the time of filming, he is unfamiliar with the Eras tour and just what that will mean for the country and the world. So
exactly.
Oh, I think this was it was this last summer, so he's aware of the Eras tour.
Was it though? Because Jam Jam is the most recent winner, isn't it?
Right.
Isn't he?
Which was last year.
I thought it aired spring 2022. Oh, spring 2023?
No. Okay, well, I have something to say about Charlie, though.
Whatever. Okay.
All right. So, first impressions. I did a lot of this just based on like how I was feeling about them while they were talking. And I was like, I like him. I think he is a nice person, but like something is just kind of like not clicking for me. Like I felt an era of like an aura of like distrust, and I was like, I think people are gonna feel this as well. And I did write this down. He has a punchable face. Once again, I do think he's probably a nice person, but like he just has that like face that like you kind of just like, he looks like a little like weasel. He's gonna like trick you.
He might. To me, it seems like somebody who was in a fraternity. And I have kind of like that sense about me to say it. And I would say, and I don't want to guess, but I might say like Delta Chi or Sigma Chi. And he seems like somebody that would be like sneaky in a fraternity. Like you wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, that's like a frat guy. But sometimes those are kind of the like fraternity members that you're like, maybe we should keep an eye on that person. That's my vibe from him.
Yeah, he did seem a little like overconfident. I think a lot of his youth is to blame for this. He really was talking about how he wants to like make big moves and like turn the volume up at Tribal, and like I think he'll make some good moves short term, but like I think he's gonna put a big target on his back because he wants to like be this flashy player, and it's like not gonna go well for him.
Yeah, I also just feel like this archetype has not won the game in the modern era, like at all, right? Like,
I also think he's similar to Carson, which
yes,
that was the most recent season people have watched, so
Yeah.
I think like that's what people are going to compare him to.
Yeah, these were definitely all concerns that I was worried about.
Yeah,
Charlie Davis.
Charlie, Mr. Davis.
He's from Manchester by the Sea. Excellent film.
Oh,
Great-
really?
Great film.
Shout out Casey Affleck if you're watching.
We don't have to shout him out. The movie was good.
Shout out Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
Michelle Williams.
well,
Perennial
shout out Lucas Hedges.
Shout out Lucas Hedges.
Oh
my god,
All
he
right.
is Lucas Hedges. Charlie is.
He
so
does look
giving
like
Lucas
him.
Hedges.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to pull up my next pick as it turns around to me. Here's the thing. Do I want to get a man on my team, or am I gonna stick with the girls?
Girl, I have 2 men. So
And I think we're gonna have a little girls' party here. We're gonna go with
oh my
Jen.
god, slay.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
Model.
she's beautiful.
Yeah, she
stunning.
gave me such good energy, and even before I watched her interview, I saw this picture and I was like, she's giving winner.
Yeah.
And then her interview was supporting of this, because I think she does have those like interpersonal skills that I think some others who we've already discussed I didn't feel that like connection with. I think the ability to banter with Mike in those interviews was something I was really looking for, because like there were some people who were just like talk it up, and if you were willing to go back and forth with like an interviewer, I think that showed like a good sign that like that's how you would probably be on the island.
Mm-hmm.
She was a #1 salesperson. She's from Guyana, so she has a lot of those like she like clawed her way to the top. She's like been in these conditions before.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to be seen as Nasir, she said, which is a good sign. He wasn't a good player. And yeah, I just think her sales background, I think, and I don't think she's planning on lying about it, which is good, but I think sales is like a profession that very easily like translates to this game. And she specifically said this, which I noted. When she's in the store and a customer comes in, she doesn't say hi to them because that sounds desperate. So she's a good salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that annoys me when I walk into a store.
Mm-hmm.
So she's good at like vibing people's energy and reading them.
Yeah.
What
So
does she
that's my
sell?
thing on Gem.
She
What
sells
does she sell?
lingerie.
Oh,
Lingerie.
where?
I have no idea, but
Like
she's
La Perla?
she manages 2 stores, and she started as a seasonal sales associate and worked her way to retail manager
Yeah.
for 2 locations. Yeah.
And as you have stated, Frankie, hot people are winning Survivor again.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so true. And you know what? It's hot people that, like, to me, in the words of a great British and Irish poets, you don't know you're beautiful, and that's what makes you beautiful. Like, it's not people that they're like, I'm the hottest person on this island, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna like, whatever. It's a very like I feel like Jem does kind of like shine from the inside out, and that makes her more beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel that. I feel like sometimes salespeople are like a taboo thing, like famous elevator salesman Cody.
Yeah.
That was an issue.
Yeah.
He
But I
was
also
good at the game though.
he was.
Yeah.
I also don't really get it, because it's like, so if you know someone's a salesperson, then like don't be sold to by them. Like, what does it matter?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, like just like noted, you're a like same thing, noted, you're a lawyer. Like, noted, you're a psychologist. Like, just kind of like play that game yourself, my opinion.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Gem before we move on?
She said she was adaptable.
Yeah,
good
she
sign.
did.
Good
That's a good
sign.
thing.
And you gotta be. All right, that's my girl, Zach. You're back on the clock with 2 picks here. Very
I know
excited.
for sure one of them, so I'll go with that person first. And I am doing my first man. I know. I was actually glad that he's not been picked, because he was my #2 pick, and it is Ben.
All right.
Oh, Ben was my last.
I
pick.
thought about
Oh,
Ben. I
really?
did.
I just found him so fun, just like in all of his interviews, and he's so like he's not like I mean the whole like School of Rock thing, Jack Black, like him kind of going off of that, like it's just so lovable, and I just enjoyed watching him talk, and I feel like the other castaways are also going to feel that. And look at this man; he does not look threatening in any way possible. So
Oh,
I
wow,
He's wearing the
that's
overalls.
yeah, that's quite an outfit.
He could have had an
Imagine-
overalls team.
Imagine being like, I have to pee. I'm in the middle of Fiji and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're totally nude.
Pass
The
out.
overalls
Winnie
with
the
the like
Pooh.
with the Hawaiian style shirt is quite a choice.
It definitely is, but I see him going really far because I think that he has like a very fun personality, and I don't think he's going to be bad at competitions. So I think that he's going to be able to kind of get by with his personal skills, and I think I can see him doing really well. So why he was my second pick in general.
He's such a character. I mean,
Yeah.
he used words like and I have them written down: grind, rip, shred, surviving, shreditating was one of his.
Shreditating, yeah.
Yeah, just incredible. He has his own little dictionary, and okay, here's the thing. At first, I found him like a little irksome, but very quickly, I think he disarmed that, and I was like, actually, I love him.
I think I didn't get past the irksome for me.
I agree.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because I said he's giving himbo vibes, which is fine, but I thought that maybe it felt a little like put on. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I also said that he seems very potentially arrogant in his like I don't know his abilities. I'm not sure. And then he was compared to Cody by Mike, and he also like agreed with that comparison. I didn't really take that many notes for him. I don't know. I just don't think he spoke to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like because I read about him because I don't think he has a TikTok yet, but I read about him and he was like, I had a really successful record label and I gave it all up, like just as it was getting good. And it's like, okay, it's cool that everything worked out for you, but also like, why? Like I don't know. Stuff like stories like that, I'm like, okay, like it's an interesting choice that you chose to give something up so early. And like obviously it paid off for you because like you seem really happy about it, but it just always makes me like question like those
See,
choices of people. Like I love to know more about that and like I'm
as
sure
someone
we'll
who's
find out.
very over corporate America, I think I just vibed with that. I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yes, you can
Yeah,
have that.
Ben.
Chase your happiness. Yes, I like
Chase
you.
your happiness. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
I did like Ben. He also said that he was going in with an open mind, like he's not too narrowly focused. So again, he has that adaptable thing going for him. And he acknowledged that like he recognizes that people will think that he's not taking the game seriously, but behind the scenes, there's more going on back here than people know. The question is, since he's gonna be like the lovable goofball, will he be able to make moves that people will respect, or are people just gonna be like, that's Ben, we don't really take him
Yeah.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah,
But I do think being underestimated is one of the greatest tools in Survivor. So if he is able to make those moves while being a goofball,
I agree.
he could seal the deal. Seal the deal.
I think the Carolyn thing could work for him or against him, because
Yeah.
either they'll be like, oh, we respect him so much even though he's this quirky character, or it'll be like, oh, he's just like Carolyn, we gotta get him out.
Yeah.
I feel like you
Mhm.
can't compare like when we call like this is so much about gender. It's ending up to be so much about gender, but I feel like we can't call women and men goofballs in the same way on this show because it's just so like people like Carolyn was goofy and they saw her as a threat, and like this man is goofy, like self-proclaimed goofy, and like that doesn't necessarily mean that he will be seen as a threat like at all for that reason. Like
Yeah.
Caroline was like quirky, but people were threatened by that. And I feel like when men are like a goofball on the show, like I don't think people were ever threatened by Cody, and he made it really far. And I think he was like much more like goofy than Carolyn was. I think Carolyn was just like eclectic. Like it was like a lot of stuff there, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like with Ben, it'll be interesting to see like the treatment that he gets on the show and just like how it does pan out for him. I'm interested to see him interacting with other people on the tribe.
Tribes.
All right, and you have another pick, Zach.
I know.
Tough choice. Now
Um,
we're getting at an interesting point here. It's like
Yeah.
middle of the road folk.
yeah.
I gotta say,
I'm
oh, I'm sorry. Just go ahead.
who's your next person? Because I'll just pick yours too. I'm torn right now between a man and a woman because I'm just gonna go with my next person on my list, which is Q.
All right, Q. So why have we picked Q?
I think Q is going to do extremely well, like physically in the competitions, I feel. And so I feel like that will at least carry him to merge. And it's really the question of after that, right? Because when you get like a really like physically demanding, like not like but like a physical like threatening person, like they like are gonna win all the challenges. Like they tend to get targeted, but I also just really liked hearing him talk, and I think that he was like very personable as well. So I think there's a chance that he gets past that, and like especially like if he is able to team up with like Hunter, they could like almost pull like a Big Brother and like kind of
Mhm.
just like brutally get their way to the end through competition wins and like just like their charisma as well. So that's my hope.
Or like
Yeah.
a Dominic and Wendell kind of vibe, like just two
Mm-hmm.
charismatic guys
Yeah.
sticking it out.
Yeah.
I really did like Q. I was kind of hoping he would fall to me, but that's okay. He really like drew me in when he was talking. Like he's a very good talker. He does real estate.
Second most
Which
sales in the country.
I guess so. And I do think that is like a good transferable job for the most part.
Yes, I do agree.
And he would like did football in college, so like he
Mhm.
clearly is going to be good. He was an accountant, so like he's probably going to be good at the
Mhm.
puzzles. So clearly like a challenge guy. Similar concern with Hunter though, like is he going to be seen too much of a threat because he's a big guy, he's going to be good at stuff. I think he's probably going to take on a leadership position. Which doesn't usually pan out well, but I don't know, it could ruffle some feathers. But if he can get an alliance, I think he can go really far.
Yeah, my concerns, I really did like him. Like he had me in the first half of his interview, but he started to lose me with his like strategy talk. He said that he doesn't like Russell because people like him are evil people, which is fair. However, that does to me say that he's maybe not going to want to betray people or fight for himself potentially. I also think that he said something about that he wants to like win out at the end. Like his entire end game strategy is just win out and win fire, which I was concerned about.
Well, he
It
wouldn't
seems
have to
like
do that because if he wins out, then he wouldn't go, or unless he puts himself in fire, which
I
seems
think
like
that
that would be the case.
I think that is what he was saying he would
Okay.
do. Yeah. So I think that he's basically going to ride his entire game on competition wins, which, as good of an idea that sounds, if you're really good at them, I just don't think that's a solid enough plan to go in with. So I'm not sure how his social and strategic game will stack up to his competition wins.
I'm wondering if eventually everybody will start to hate him just by
Because
from what you're saying, because I feel like it
mm-hmm,
might end up being like a Ben situation where it's like everyone just starts like disliking him, but like he keeps winning challenges, and then it's like just the right jury, and like that's why he might win. But to me, I think that they're like doing something about changing it this season. I don't know, or maybe this is just conjecture that maybe like Kay was mentioning, but um I feel like challenges are good for winning immunity, but I'm not impressed by challenge wins when it comes to taking those into account for winning
yeah,
Survivor. So if he wants to win all the challenges and get immunity, and then that's how he gets to the end, that's fine. But if I was on the jury, wouldn't necessarily be enough for me to be like, here's $1 million because you won a
yeah,
bunch of challenges.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
I
that's a
agree with
more old
that.
school
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote this feels like an old school game mentality, which I don't think really transfers at all to the new era. So I'm not quite sure, but I do think he's very charismatic, and if he can find his groove and like the right people to maybe bounce some strategic ideas off of, I think he will be good. But if he's going and trying to play this like lone wolf game where he wins out till the end, I don't think it's going to work for him.
Yeah. Agree.
All right, it's me again. Listen. I have two choices here. Now. It's gonna be no, I think it's gonna two women here, I think is where we're looking at. But they're very different. But I think I'm gonna go with D 2.0.
Oh my God, I said
This
the
is
same
a shocking pick to me.
Really?
I am shocked at this, but
What-
I would
She
love
was
to
my
hear
next
more
pick,
about
too.
it.
I would
Okay,
love. I
wait.
want to hear why it's shocking, but I will talk first.
Wait, can we talk about this out? What is she wearing?
She said,
She's
"Mama,
serving.
I
Yeah.
am slaying on
She said
this
no.
island."
She said mother. This
Ma-
is
Yeah,
mother
she
right
said-
here.
I mean,
She
it's
said,
a
"I
great
am your mother.
outfit,
Listen
but-
to me. First Survivor winner to be a judge on Drag Race.
Yes.
And I would watch it.
1000%.
Okay, Diva. Okay, Diva.
I didn't say this about Jess, but Canadian energy here. We have Jess has the Canadian upside.
Mhm.
Okay. Venus also Canadian, which inherently means that they're likable.
Mhm.
Okay. I was getting D 2.0.
Yes.
I think she was very intelligent. She, again, people are winning Survivor now. And she is giving like maybe like a little sweeter than D, which could be good. Whereas I think like D, like very like out the gate, you could tell she was like a very like strong personality. So Venus could slip under the radar here. She loves Parv and Courtney Yates, so
Yeah.
not to like. So here's my concern with Venus. She's a little bit young. 24, I think a couple more years, like she's giving a little naive right now, just a smidge. So I think if she had applied a couple years later, she would be higher on my list.
Agreed.
But I do like her, and I think she has potential.
Yeah, I agree. She was actually next for me to pick. And I'm realizing I should have picked her over Charlie on my last round. But yeah, I really liked her. She was also the first interview I watched, so I possibly am swayed by that fact because I watched her first. But I of course stan anyone who stands Parv and Courtney, because if she's gonna be anything like those two, she'll slay. And she seemed charismatic, and yeah, I liked her strategic outlook going into the game.
Yeah, and she would want The Rock to visit her on the island. So.
Oh, did she say that? I missed that part.
Oh, it was interesting to hear who people would want on the island.
I didn't watch that far.
Someone like did not understand the question. They were like, "Well, I would bring my family, of course."
I should have watched far enough to hear these answers. I like stopped there like 10 minutes into the interviews.
Yeah. So what's surprising here, Frankie?
I am so like, I'm not surprised.
Is it the pants?
Is it the pants at the top? Is it is it the Brazilian blowout? Is it I am very surprised, just because I feel like she's not necessarily somebody that, like, I don't know. I just don't know that she will. I'll put it this way. I don't doubt her ability to perhaps even make it to the final three. I do doubt her ability to garner votes to win $1 million. So I am surprised for that reason. I feel like she could certainly make it to the end, but I don't know that she will be compelling enough to those around her to like convince them that she played the best game. That is my surprise with that.
I felt like she had the speaking ability to perhaps do that. I mean, obviously it depends on the moves that she makes to get there.
100%.
yeah, I felt like she had a lot of like, it didn't feel like she was just like talking to sound good. Like I felt like she had drive
Well,
behind what she was saying.
and she definitely has a plan. Like I want her to get an idol. When she was talking about like she has a plan to use an idol that's like not just like playing at tribal
Oh my
council. I'm like,
God.
what do you mean? I want to know.
Tell me more.
Like she just seems creative and fun, and I really
Mhm.
enjoyed seeing her talk. She was high on my list too. Like probably
Ugh.
if y'all had a picked her in the next like 6 other picks, she would have been my next one.
I was about to get her.
But yeah, no,
One too late.
I also just like love the mentality of like bring back reality television villains.
The
'Cause, like,
villain,
like
Yes.
in the age of social media, everybody is so like scared of backlash. I'm like, no, just like be
But
a
Yeah.
little ruthless.
and
Like that,
I do believe that she has like could be a villain in like a very like I don't know how bad you'd like me to swear on this, but a very like
go for it.
very like C-wordy complimentary.
Gotcha. I see the hesitancy.
Yeah,
Okay.
like C-wordy, like complimentary, like villain. But I think that now versus like Parvati or Coach or like people like it's like if this woman is her true authentic self day one and they lose a challenge, I think she might get voted out. Because
Mhm.
people aren't like, wow, this is a compelling person who like is an incredible villain. Like they might think about that as a viewer of the show, but as a participant in the show, I think the game has changed so much that it's
Mhm.
like and I think that kind of goes back to my point is like they wouldn't feel good about giving her $1 million, and I think that that's where the disconnect is happening for me with
Yeah, no, I
her.
feel that.
Yeah.
There's some potential jealousy happening.
Yeah, she's so pretty.
Because she slays so
But
hard.
She
I
was
feel-
confident enough to wear a whisper of a corset on this
No.
island.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't have left her on the table. I just
No.
for
Yeah.
personal reasons.
that's mother right there.
That's
That's
mother. I mean,
Mother.
she's going to give us, I think, amazing content no matter what happens.
Yeah.
The confessionals are gonna be great.
Yes. I do always as Frankie said earlier, I do think people who are like Parvati stans and their whole goal is potentially to like emulate what Parvati has given us, it could hit or miss. Because if it's not actually coming from like you yourself and you're just trying to like mimic Parvati, that is usually a miss. But I was getting the energy that this is like authentic to who she is. So
Yeah.
Because I feel like with and we can move on too. I know we're talking a lot about her.
yeah.
But I feel like I was just thinking about this because I just watched Micronesia. We just watched that fans versus favorites, and I just find it hard to believe that like people would really do an all women alliance anymore. Like
Mhm.
Parvati's whole recipe for this was like feminine wiles but don't really care about the guy, like fun but don't really care. Girls alliance, the house down boots, and I don't care. Like I need to make big moves in this game, and I think it's like kind of few and far between that somebody would be willing to do that same path like on like in a newer season of Survivor.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's fair.
I feel you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've gone in depth about Venus.
Yeah, we talked a lot about her.
Because she's
we'll see-
mother.
We'll see how the stars align for her.
We'll see how the planets align for
The
Venus.
planets, yeah. And I think Jessica is next.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Venus was the next pick I felt like good about. So now I'm stuck between two people, and I'm deciding based off of a very small thing that was said. And I'm gonna go with Tiffany.
Yeah, that was the other one I was going.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I really liked Tiffany. So I was between her and Maria. And the difference between the two was one person said something about Maria, like upon observing her, that she seemed kind of closed off and not friendly. And multiple people pointed out Tiffany, I think, as somebody that they've got really good energy from. So that's what I'm basing my decision off of. She seems really fun, really easy to talk to. I have concerns about her strategic ideas, but I thought that her answers were pretty good. She compared herself to Natalie Anderson and Shan. And yeah, I just felt like she seemed like she had a good head on her shoulders. She also did say she seemed relatively aware of her flaws, being that she has no filter and she potentially could be too nice and a people pleaser and have no poker face. So hopefully those things aside, she can find the right people that will, work with her. And yeah, I don't know. She just seemed fun. I think people are going to like her. Like, I think they're going to gravitate towards her.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. She was the other one I was debating between. I agree that she like seems very aware of her strengths and flaws, which is good. Now is she going to be able to actually adapt? Now, like she knows what she should do. Now is she gonna do it? Like the fact that she has no filter, like that could get into a really sticky situation. But I do think that people are gonna like her.
Yeah.
And hopefully she gets a little alliance going or like knows how to like manipulate people in that way. Yeah, and I think she said that she liked Q, who is on her tribe as well. So maybe they can get something going.
Yeah, I think that the no filter thing is tough because I think that's something that really could screw you if you can't control it. But she seems like she's either very enthusiastically nice or very enthusiastically like potentially angry if you like cross her wrong. So that's something that hopefully she can, now that she's acknowledged it, she can deal with that the way she needs to.
Yeah, because like no filter can, like, if you're like just being very honest, it can be a very good thing in a game. You want to work with someone who's going to like just tell you what they're thinking and not beat around the bush.
Yeah,
like,
and I think she mentioned that too. Like, I think she was saying that could also be a benefit for her within her alliance, and like keeping it real could be something that would benefit her.
Yeah. She was like pretty close on my rest of my picks too, because I just think that she was a very fun person, and just like I think that she's gonna do well.
Would be her friend.
Definitely.
1000%.
Yeah. Is that or have we finished with Tiffany? Are we ready for the next one, Frankie?
Yeah.
All right. Let us know where your head's at.
I think so. This is someone who was on my original list to pick too. Good vibes from this woman. And I'm going to pick Soda.
Yeah.
I think that first of all, she's from New Jersey, which is like
she's from Long Island, actually.
Or she lives in New Jersey.
Yeah, she lives in Jersey.
But she's like, it's that kind of like East Coast like mentality. She also was very open about her like upbringing and the struggles like that happened in her upbringing. And I think that she will be open enough to tell people about that and be open about that on the island. And I think it would compel people to be like, this is a good person who deserves $1 million. And I got that like good, I think I got like that that vibe from her in a way that's like, I wouldn't want to screw her over. Like people would feel bad to screw her over. So I've got that vibe from her.
Yeah, she seems really sweet. Now are people gonna like take advantage of that and
maybe
like her? I don't know. Okay, so she is one of the other like teachers or like a teacher adjacent roles here. And as a teacher, I wrote this little note while I was making the rounds of these interviews that teachers should in theory be good at Survivor. Like there's a lot of like interpersonal skills. You have to like be able to manage like a lot of like different situations at once. But I feel like the skills don't always transfer. I feel like you're either like, well, first of all, working with kids and adults, very different. Like a lot of times there's like, power dynamics, and like teachers can a lot of times be like very like headstrong, and they're like, well, like my way is the right way. I don't think that's her thing. I think she's on the other side where I think she'll be a little too empathetic
Mm-hmm.
because like she has to be in her job.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see like her like maybe not having that the cutthroat instinct in her, maybe a little too sweet.
Yeah.
And people might take advantage.
That's I loved her. I think she's so sweet.
She's so sweet.
The thing that I worry about is if it like gets down to her and another person, is she gonna have the fight to like really get the votes off of her, or is
Mm-hmm.
like it just gonna end up piling on her because she's not gonna be the one like willing to make like a cutthroat move to save herself. And so like I think that if she gets past the early portions of both the pre-merge and the merge, she'll be set because I think that like she's not going to be seen as like a huge threat, but I think like in those early votes where people are looking for any way to save themselves, like, oh, that's a nice person who's not really fighting super hard in the game. Let's just put their name out and maybe nothing will happen. No pushback will happen and they can just go.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
was my only concern.
yeah. I feel like with her, I think that people on the tribes who are a little bit more like I like maybe like arrogant, I guess, will try to walk all over her, but I do think that other people on the tribe will take offense to that. Like I think that, and I think that that may protect her because I think that people will enjoy like being around her. And I think for that reason, I don't know that she'll necessarily be seen as expendable, like somebody who might like maybe not like quote unquote try as hard, but is like annoying or something. I think that she has a lot of heart.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think that may get her far in the game.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm kind
And
of surprised
also-
that she fell this far, to be honest, because
And
I feel like
also
she is very likable.
Yeah. And regarding the like cutthroat instinct, I did notice like when she was asked about like that kind of stuff, she kind of like shifted into a different persona almost, like from the sweet teacher vibe to more of like a no, I can hold my own kind of thing. So I have hope. I have hope for her
I
her
want
cutthroat
nothing but
instinct.
success. Yeah.
Soda. Yeah, I think she has potential here. But Frankie, you do have another pick.
I think that I'm gonna say something that's gonna shock
Oh,
everyone.
no.
And I think I'm just gonna go for it.
Oh, geez.
And the person, and I don't know why, but the person who I am choosing to pick is Jelinski.
Oh my gosh.
When I tell you I've been predicting, I literally have been hovering over their names. Like I'm ready for everyone's picks.
And I'm gonna say this, you know, this is a 22-year-old man from Las Vegas, Nevada.
And that's all we need to say. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really have like a huge rationale for why I picked him besides the fact that I think that as a 22-year-old man, he will not have a problem like being an asshole in this game, and sometimes that's what gets you ahead.
Yeah.
So I you know what? I feel like if he makes it past the first few votes, he may be able to start orchestrating some shit. If that doesn't bite him in the ass, he might make it far. And I think that, you know, I'm not willing to put like all of my trust in him, but I think he might make it pretty far in the game, just depending on how the chips fall. So that's all.
Yeah, he was an interesting character. The whole well, the slot machine salesman on its own is a character, and then he's also in school for gaming management. But yeah, he also is a Big Brother fan and is a Hayden fan also, which I thought was interesting. And
That feels right.
yeah, and he also has said that his Achilles heel is his arrogance, and he knows for sure he's going to win this game. So
he knows for sure.
Yeah. So he said there's no doubt in his mind that he will win this game. So he has
he's 22.
So he's got to manage, and he knows that. He knows he has to manage that, but he also still knows that he, in his mind, that he needs that confidence to make it happen. So that seems to be the way he's approaching the game. He also wants to find a nice ally who's nice to a fault so that he can manipulate them.
And he identified Banu.
Yes.
Going to be on his tribe.
Because he was reading a book about Gandhi, and he thinks that he will be a selfless ally who will fall on his sword for Jelinski. And
All
also,
right.
thank you for putting his name properly in the slideshow, not David.
Yeah. He said, "Don't call me David."
Said, "Don't call me David,"
and I'll respect that.
Yeah.
There's
I-
something. No, actually, you go ahead, Zach. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say it was him and Charlie who were battling it out for my like bottom of my list. If I'm being completely honest, I think the arrogance and that he's definitely gonna win. That was just like
Mhm.
I don't think that's ever. I think it's
Yeah.
good to be like I think I can win. I like,
Mhm.
but I think being that young and that confident is just like never a good combination, especially like starting out on a tribe meeting people. When I was like listening to him talk, I wasn't like, that's a person that I want to have a conversation with
Mhm.
for like however 20, how many days are they on the island now?
26, I think.
26. Like, I think that I would just get fed up and he would be one of the first people that I would personally would want out. And so that's why I immediately it was like, no.
Mhm.
But
I
Okay.
think
I'm
Go ahead.
curious to sorry. Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm
it's fine.
curious to see how he like what persona he puts on when he meets everyone. Because
Yeah, I
I
agree
feel like
with
there's
that.
no way it's gonna be the
Because
Yeah.
they're
persona.
Yeah, because like having like worked with like specifically like 22-year-old men, like this demographic, even the people who like you see behind closed doors that are like the biggest assholes alive, they are probably like a teacher's pet in class, like in their college classes. And I feel like boys like this can really like turn it on and turn it off. I have a feeling that if he makes merge and there are more than like 5 women in the merge tribe, he will be voted out immediately. But I think that just depending on the dynamics of the tribe that he starts on will kind of dictate the tolerance level for him.
Yeah. And listen, I've been giving him a little bit of shit here,
Mhm.
but ultimately he was on like the middle of my list.
Yeah, same.
I-
I did like
think
him
that
and
he has something in him. I do
Mhm.
think that his age and his arrogance is not going to take him far, but I
Mhm.
do see like a Sammy upside to him, like
Mhm.
famously, like I think what 19?
19.
Like he
Mhm.
wasn't bad at the game, but like
Yeah.
maybe just a little overconfident. He will probably make like some good moves, but like because he's so loud and like abrasive about it, I think like he's gonna have a target on his back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say I did note that he does seem like relatively mature for his age, and he talked about a little bit about his upbringing, which probably is to result like the reason for that. So I do think that I think he has definitely good qualities. He also has the like a gaming mind, which I think is going to benefit him. So yeah, I think that he definitely could do well if he can reel in his self-confidence. Okay, so I did already spoil my pick, I realize. So I'm glad nobody took her. So I'll be picking Maria.
Yeah.
Which I guess everyone already knows. So I thought that I was lessened in feeling confident about her when I think it was Kenzie said that she like hadn't smiled since they got there.
Yeah.
That's slightly concerning to me. But I did like her interview. She has like the clear like mom energy happening. I liked her like determination and like the like I don't know what I'm looking for, like just her drive to like get the job done, that kind of thing. I will say her kryptonite being a control freak, it's probably going to be a problem for her. So hopefully she can, I say as a control freak, hopefully she can handle that. And
well, it's
I
like
think
Bruce
Yeah.
made it pretty far last season, and he was very
Yeah, that's
very
true.
controlling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not getting like nurturing caregiver the way that a lot of other mothers are. She was giving cold to me. So I see like the fact that like Kenzie's already like getting that vibe and like they haven't even spoken to each other.
Yeah.
Like it's not a great sign.
Yeah.
I think she's a nice person. I just think like some people just like give off like a more like, stern vibe. And I don't know. But maybe people will
Yeah.
respect that. I don't know.
You know,
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. No, finish what you were saying.
I was
She's your
just gonna
pick.
say, hopefully she can like fall into the background enough that like I feel like the like not sticking out in any kind of strong way could be good for her. And then like maybe later she'll ramp it up. I don't know. I did feel good about her listening to her interview.
Yeah, she does seem very strong. Like she runs marathons, she did like natural childbirth. And just like her like energy was giving that like I don't like deal with bullshit in my life kind of thing. And like maybe people will like respect that and like she can give like tough love kind of mother thing. I think that if she's gonna play it, like it has to be in that sense.
Yeah.
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 She can't be the sweet mother. That's not gonna work for her.
I was gonna make the point that some mothers eat their young. like it's like not always like a nurturing thing. And first of all, I don't like when people who have given birth are like, I had a natural childbirth, like weird flex, but okay. Like, all right, cool. Like that would be like if somebody was like, I got my leg cut off with no anesthesia and it was available to me, but I chose not to use it. Like, cool. Like that works for you and that's fine. And then there's no shame in that. But I just think it's like a weird flex to be like,
she's like, I'm strong.
I'm strong because I chose not to be medicated while going through the most painful thing that anyone could ever go through, like ever, like, you know, whatever. I that's, you know, that's fine. I just think it's a weird flex. I also, my hypothesis, now that we're talking about this, I was searching Survivor season 46, and the title of the second episode is called Scorpio Energy, and I believe it's about Maria. Now, like that is in reference to Maria, because it seems like something that Kenzie would say about Maria.
Kenzie does regularly see a psychic.
Yes, we know this.
Is true about her.
So I feel like that is something that's something. But I think that if she makes it far enough, she could definitely win. I feel like in the past few seasons we've seen like Julie as a mother archetype, and this is just such the opposite of Julie. And even like Tiffany to an extent, who was like kind of like a mother archetype.
Yeah, she's giving more Tiffany.
Yeah.
And I think Tiffany had that edge that could have taken her all the way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she definitely did. Tiffany was a bit more goofy. She had like a more of a lighter sense about her.
Carefree vibe.
But I do feel like, I don't know, it's hard with like seeing Maria like so briefly, but hopefully she has more facets than she's showing in her interview.
Yeah. All right, so that is Maria. Okay, so here's how the next couple of picks are gonna go. I am going to go, then Zach's going to go. But because we were the first and second slot, it is not really fair for us to have the extra players, even though that's how the snake would go. So it will go after that to Jess, and then Frankie, you will have
gotcha.
Mr. or Mrs. Irrelevant. I would prefer it. I'd prefer the pick to be made for me because
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's so fair.
All right,
and I have a feeling I know who it might be. So,
well, we'll see. All right, I really don't feel good about this. I think I have made my decision. It's not one I feel strongly about, but I will show you my pick. It is Tevin.
Oh.
So I personally, when I was watching his interview, did not get a great vibe from him. He talked a lot. He was one of the people that like really like he wasn't having a conversation with Mike. Like he's an actor, let's put it that way. Like he loved to hear himself talk. He took up the most time out of anyone in those interviews. It was like almost half an hour. And it's clear that he really loved to hear his own like thoughts and experiences. And it's not to say that he's like an egomaniac or whatever, but like that it's an actor thing and you just have to know these people. And I don't know if like he's gonna be able to like hear other people out in that way, or if he's just gonna be in his own little mind. Like trying to like, I think he's gonna be a fun character. I think he's really like gonna play it
Yep.
up for the camera, and he's gonna be entertaining. And I think he will be likable because he is like a likable person. But I didn't get any sort of like strategic thought. He talked about his profession for most of the time, and I was like,
Yeah.
we're here for Survivor.
Yeah. Which, in his defense, Mike Bloom was asking a lot of questions about
He
people's
was asking a lot of
professions,
questions. Yeah.
and I was like, okay, we can move on now.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, because he's not really thinking that strategically, like people might be using him or maybe won't like respect him in like a game player sense. But he seems like someone who might just kind of like float on by or like be in an alliance but like not be calling the shots kind of thing. That's what I'm getting from Tevin. But you know, people have made it to the end, like a Gabler, where they're like in those groups, but then they like, I don't know, people just respect him because they like him kind of thing. So that's how I feel about Tevin.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that he was giving me like he's going to be like well liked by everyone, but not in a meaningful way.
Yep.
Like, and I did write that he had long-winded stories, but he was engaging. So I think it could go either way. If he could find the right person who wants to hear all of his stories and like maybe be the less vocal side of him, then that might work for him.
Any other thoughts about Tevin before we move on?
His shirt looks like the uniform of an IKEA employee. Neutral comment, not complimentary nor derogatory. Simple statement.
Maybe
also-
maybe
Sorry,
good
go
at
ahead.
puzzles.
Perhaps.
Right, he was putting together IKEA furniture.
Yeah. So another reason that he was bumped up a little bit is because in the promo they keep showing this clip of like a producer like handing him some sort of like advantage or something, and him just being like, I have an advantage, like, so I like he has to get somewhere with that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also like people who choose to soft smile in their like Survivor senior photo. Him as well as your other team member Venus both chose to go.
And my team looks great.
Yeah.
Okay?
You
really have a lot of look queens on your team.
Hot people win Survivor. That I'm just gonna do. I'm not even gonna watch an interview next year. I'm just gonna look at the pictures.
The hottest people.
The hottest people.
That's such a good point.
It's a great idea for merchandise. Hot people win Survivor. That's gonna be Well, we're gonna have hats. Hot people.
We will make hats. All right. So, Zach, you are up.
Okay, I think my final pick is going to be Liz.
Had a feeling.
I don't know if I have that much of an explanation. I feel like we're getting towards the ends of all of our lists. She was kind of in the middle of mine. I thought she was like a lot of fun. Like she's like a little like crazy fun like energy, and so I feel like if she's able to get past that first part of the game and like establish more connections and kind of get past that, she could do well and be underestimated. But
I did love that Tevin described her as mini Shambo.
I love that.
I love that.
Her and Mariah look so similar to me. I had a really hard time like distinguishing them. She is Shambo though. The headband is Liz.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, she is Shambo.
Because Liz has rainbow glasses and Mariah has circle wire glasses.
Okay. Worth noting.
Yeah.
But
this was another person I thought was interesting and was clearly accepted because they had a prominent career in like being like a blogger. Like she was like a RV blogger before she like reached her current career. I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
She also didn't she talk about how like people like she had a very lonely childhood? Was that her?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
Or she like had like trouble growing up because like people like thought she was weird or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I didn't write many notes for her, honestly. She liked Jam Jam and she liked Ty. And she wants a silly shield where she has his allies with people who are sillier than her.
I mean, there's enough of them. She has some to pick from.
Elite strategy right there.
Sometimes I'm like, I could never, like, everyone would hate me if I was on this like thing, like immediate villain, just because I would be like, yeah, I'm here to take the game seriously, and like, I like, if people like me, that's fine. Like, I feel like everybody would hate me.
That's so like Todd Herzog of her. She's like, where he was like, I need someone smaller than me. She's like, I need someone sillier than me.
Yeah.
And he found someone smaller than him, Courtney.
Ben is here.
Yeah, Ben is here. They're gonna be the dynamic duo that we need.
Yeah. Again, I think that the people are so, and in these interviews they have really mentioned Carolyn and Jam Jam like over and over and over again. Like every single person is so hyper aware of this like potential like duo player. And like I think she has a lot of qualities that are similar to them. So I don't know. I just, any player that was too similar to them, I just kind of was very wary of.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
And do we think she's wearing a crop top or a bodysuit?
Oh, I think it's a crop top.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
Because
belly.
if it was a bodysuit, I would be like, worst move in the entire game.
Yeah.
You have to be able to pee. I was just thinking about this because like even on like the old seasons of Survivor, no one's wearing a one piece, and I'm like, right, because if you have to pee, you need to be able to like quickly take your bottoms off. So
yeah. And she will not be very warm. It doesn't seem like she has real pants. So
no, but she has a chambray acid wash shirt tied around her waist. So
and she can replace that headband with her buff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's she gonna do with her signature headband?
Well, I think the buff will become her signature headband.
Or will she have both?
I think if she takes it off, her hair will fall off like in that short story.
It's like a wig. It's one of those like costume whatever. Like, with a headband on.
I want her to keep the headband and then wear the replace the crop top with the buff. I think that's what she needs to do.
That's such a slay.
Yeah,
love that.
Or make them into like a longer skirt for the pants for warmth.
So true. Like a mermaid. Like keep your legs together.
We need some more innovative buff placements this season. That's what I need.
For sure. All right. And with that, our final two players, who will you pick?
Okay.
Jessica?
I do understand what Frankie was saying because I wish that this was a choice being made for me. However, I think I'm going to have to go with Tim here. I mostly because he said that he's a good swimmer, which I think is going to be really valuable. And he also seemed much more willing to strategize than Banu. Banu, I mostly am picking Tim because I didn't necessarily want to pick Banu, mostly because it seemed like he really didn't like villains and he didn't necessarily want to betray people, which is just, I find that to be a red flag with these games. I really don't enjoy games where people don't want to look outside of alliances. But Tim had mentioned something about like being part of a majority alliance, but like continuing to make relationships with the people who are probably on the outskirts of that alliance. So I liked that. The biggest red flag for me was he said people were reading too much on the island. And that means they're going to be really good at the puzzles. But then, some other people mentioned some puzzle books. So it's possible that he was maybe correct.
He literally was like, I would never read.
Yeah.
People were going to think that I'm good at puzzles.
Yeah. So I'm really curious what books were being read that made him think that.
Well, we know there was a Gandhi book being read.
Yes.
And as we know, Gandhi was very good at puzzles.
So true.
Yeah.
Someone did mention a puzzle book though. So maybe I'm hearing I'm picking up what he's putting down a little bit more. If the puzzle
people
books
that are doing puzzle books aren't good at puzzles. Those are people that are like, fuck, I'm bad at puzzles. I need to cram right before
it's like puzzles for dummies. But the thing about like reading a puzzle book is like you're not doing the puzzle. So isn't that kind of like a theory versus practice situation? Like I could read a manual of how to fly an airplane. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to like fly an airplane.
Yeah. I also like, what else are they supposed to do? They don't have any other entertainment, and it seems like they're allowed to have books. So like what? Anyway, but I don't know. I'm hoping that he can swim well. So
yeah, I don't think he's necessarily like red flag.
No.
But this is the teacher adjacent. This is the opposite side. Too empathetic. I think he's in the camp of like too controlling, and I don't mean that in like in a sense of like oh, he's like a mean like college coach or whatever, but like, and I think he is probably good at his job, but he works with kids to like help them apply to colleges. And I'm assuming what he does in those scenarios is he's like, this is what you got to do. This is how you get this done. You got to do this, this, and this, and this. And it's like very like motivational. So it's a lot of like him doing the work. And I feel like in a Survivor setting, he's going to be like, okay, we need to do this, this, and this, and this. And it's not a collaborative process. And in that sense, I don't think it's going to translate.
I totally can see that.
Yeah. To me, it's funny that none of you, like all of you said that this wasn't true, but to me, for some reason, this is the one person that was like red flag, horrible vibes. Like, I don't know what it was about. Maybe it was the way they edited the TikTok, but I was just like, like feeling like very like this. Like I was like, I don't know if I would want to like work with him. I think it's something about him makes me feel like he might like start spiraling once he gets on the island because of like kind of what Kay is saying, where it's like those plans that you make for students are great if they listen to them. So like what happens if somebody like he's laid out this whole plan and all they have to do is follow it and they choose not to follow it? It seems like something that could result in him kind of like maybe flying off the handle. Like I got that vibe where it's like, you know, and once again, like you're freezing, you're starving, like you're away from your family. And I feel like you just kind of behave in a different mindset in that regard. So.
Yeah. All right. And with that, we know where Frankie's going.
That's true.
You have the honor and privilege of having Banu, and my computer is going slow, having Banu on your team. What are your thoughts?
The only reason why I didn't like rank him higher, because honestly, like I feel like yes, he wasn't picked in our draft. I don't feel like this is a horrible option like to have on the team.
No.
I think that for me, the only thing that gives me pause is that he's so positive about things. Like he's so like he's high energy in that way. I feel like sometimes if people like that face adversity on the island, they don't do well because they're like, well, guys, like we lost the challenge and we have to go to tribal, but like we should be lucky to be here. We get to play Survivor. And it's like, that's not the energy we need to come into like with this game. And that's the only thing that gave me pause about him was I was like, he has an incredible story. He is so like positive and so like outgoing and like proud of who he is. But I think sometimes if everyone else is like, it just depends on how his tribe is. Because if no one else is like that, then he's gonna be first boot. He just needs, if he finds the right group of people, like if he gets in with like perhaps Kenzie, like perhaps like Liz, then that's like okay, like you know, the girls are girling. But if not, then I feel like he could potentially like not fare well in the game.
All right, here's my thing about Banu. Yes, he might be a little like naive, like maybe he's not really thinking too strategically, maybe a little emotional, blah blah blah. The biggest red flag here is that he is a huge Spencer fan.
Yeah, huge Spencer
that man would
fan.
not shut up about Spencer.
Yeah.
Anytime Mike asked a question, he kept talking about Spencer, and I was like, let it rest.
Well, because Kagihan was his first season, so I guess he has a bit of rose-colored glasses.
He's like, I love Spencer, but I hate villains, and I'm like,
yeah, right,
huh?
yeah. I know it was the villain thing really was the reason. Well, I wasn't getting a lot of strategy from him either. I think that people are really gonna like him. But I just can't rock with people who are anti-betrayal and villains. I just can't.
You know what? And I like don't normally either. And me like arguing a case for this man, I did not choose him. He's mine by default. I'm lying. I'm actually a lawyer. I've been a lawyer this whole time. But I think that like my whole like thoughts about this season and I've been saying it like here and there, like off camera too, is like they don't cast people to enjoy villainy anymore. Like they don't want there to be villains. They want you to feel good about everyone. They want you to be happy if anyone wins. So he is very much like a dream of a producer if he like wants to like play an honest game, which like people who like having watched these more like seasons like 17 or whatever, they're all about like honest games, especially those early seasons on. They were like, we don't want people to lie. We don't want people to be deceived. Like, I won't vote for you if you lie to me, like that type of thing. And like that, I think that that's kind of what they are moving more toward, like with these new castings. And I feel like for that reason, he was like an ideal like cast member for this season. So like maybe that's just the vibe of the season is like we're gonna juxtapose people who may be like more villainous with people who are like, I'm so anti-villainy, because I feel like for the past 3 seasons it's been a bunch of like medium people who could kind of go either way. So maybe they're like, this is their soiree into archetypical like villainy versus archetypical like I don't want anything to do with that type of thing. So
yeah, it could work for. I think there are a lot of people that are like him on this cast. So
I do agree.
So we will see.
And then if
so
whoever wins, we win $1 million.
Yeah.
Let's do a little overview of the picks that we have here. Who wrote them down?
I did.
I wrote my own down.
All right, Zach, give it to us.
Okay, so my team is Kenzie, Ben, Q, and Liz. Kay's team is Jess, Jem, Venus, and Tevin.
Hot team.
Divas.
Great team.
Literally divas. Ice Capades diva.
Jess's team is Hunter, Charlie, Tiffany, Maria, and Tim.
Okay,
And
feel okay about that.
And Frankie's team is Mariah, Randon, Soda, Jelinsky, and Banu.
Let's put these in the tribes. That feels like they have very similar themes happening here.
Agree.
I think we all were like, I value this thing.
Hey, doing a beauty brains and bronze season, and she chose beauty.
All right, and with that, we have completed our first draft of Survivor. Give it up.
What does the winner get?
The winner will get to
no, the question is what
everyone
does the
will give them many compliments, shower them with compliments of how good they are. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Should we have the winner?
I'll noodle over it.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
I feel like the loser should have to do something. Like the person who does the worst.
Oh, wait, you know what they do on RHAP? I think they do this for Big Brother too, the same way as the quiz. If all your people get eliminated, I don't know if it's like pre-jury or the first person to have all their people eliminated has to do something, like loses and has to do something, which I think because it's Big Brother they make the meat slop, but we could do something. No, we could do something else.
Eat rice.
I would love that. I love rice.
I love rice.
Yeah, that's like a meal every day.
Yeah.
You have to shit in the ocean.
Oh my god. Okay, take me to the ocean. Let's go.
Cake by the ocean. Okay.
All right. And with that, Mams signing off.